Aspirants, looking at the current affairs for 1710-2018, the Hindu analysis. So these are the important news items to what has been picked up from the Hindu newspaper, and this is the editorial to what you have to focus. And there's one editorial which has been left out, that is the Foreign Secretary's editorial part. So he is trying to balance between the US, China and Russia. So you can even add that and you can do up with the editorial part. So that's about it. And the first news item, 8 protesters held in late night crackdown at Nilakal. So here it is the after, that is a post Sabrimala verdict to what has been coming from the Supreme Court. Here most of the people are under the protest as the gate would be open for the women between 10 to 50 years. So here they have been under the protest right now, and they have been not happy with the verdict which has been coming from the Supreme Court. And here there is actually the Sabrimala, there is under a security zone under section 53 of the Police Act. So why they have declared the Sabrimala security zone is because here the policemen are witnessing the protesters, women protesters, who are not allowing the people to get into the temple, and they are actually stopping and also screening all the pampa bound vehicles which is going against the particular limit entry. They are not allowing the people to get in. So taking this into consideration, now the police had cracked down the protesters of this Nilakal, so who are actually at the entry point of the Sabrimala Hill temple, and arresting 8 persons from the Namajapa Pandal of the Sabrimala Samrakshan Samiti. So 8 people have been arrested for the same. So this is like slightly they are going against the verdict to what has been given by the Supreme Court. So they are trying to protest that as the gates has been opened for the 1 month puja. So this is all about it. The next one, Sirisena alleges that the Raw is plotting his assassination. So here the Sirisena, he is actually the president of Sri Lanka. His full name is Maithripala Sirisena. So he is putting a very serious allegation on India. So this might affect Indo-Lankan relations as well, because he is trying to accuse the India's research and analysis wing, we call it as RAW, for plotting his assassination. So here they are saying that the RAW is actually planning to kill him, and this was one of the allegations to what has been put on to RAW. You should know what is RAW actually. So RAW is actually the India's intelligence agency, which the headquarters is in New Delhi. So this was actually formed in 1968, and the first director was URRENT Rao. So, and apart from that, the parent agency is to be the Prime Minister's office. So Prime Minister's office is a parent agency. Under that you have this research and analysis wing. The main functions of the RAW is that they would be doing the counter-terrorism, collection of external intelligence, information about the foreign governments, corporation and persons, and to advise the Indian policymakers. The security of India's nuclear program also will be taken care, and protection of the Indian economy from the foreign organization. So this is a work which is what has been undertaken by RAW, the most prestigious position in terms of India, with an analysis wing. So now here this has been allegated by the Sri Lankan president, telling that they have been plotting him for assassination. So here he is been telling that Indian agency is trying to kill him, and this is with respect to Prime Minister. Is talking about the Prime Minister as well, but he may not be aware of the plan. So our Prime Minister Narendra Modi is not aware of the plan to what the RAW is being trying to execute on the Sri Lankan President Mr. Maithripala Sirisena. So this is what the allegation to what he has been putting on you. So that is all about it, and this is days before to what is happening, or a plan where Prime Minister of Sri Lanka is actually scheduling to visit New Delhi, and he will be meeting Mr. Modi to discuss the bilateral matters, and also including the India assassinated projects on the highlight. So even before the meeting is held on, this is a kind of an verdict, the allegations what is been coming from the President of Sri Lanka. And here there is also one important aspect to what has been brought light, because the last month they actually arrested an individual named Namal Kumara. So he was actually a part of the anti-corruption outfit, and he is claiming that he was aware of the plan where they had planned to assassinate Sirisena. So, and also the former Defence Secretary Rajapaksa as well. So CID had interrogated him, and the police arrested an Indian national late in September, and he also said the local media that he reported that the Indian intensified. He's been identified as Mr. Thomas, who has been hailing from Kerala, that he knew about the plot. So here the things are going fishy and ambiguous. The things have not been very clear out here, but taking these into limelight to Mr. Sirisena is actually allegating on the RAW and telling that they are making a plan to assassinate him. So there is an uncleared story which has been right now here, and this is purely an allegation which has been coming. And they were also telling that it's not the first time to what the allegation is on the raw. So earlier also they had been doing the same thing from past. So this is about it. And the next one, talks to end the Sabarimala impasse reach nowhere. So here we have the talks where they are holding to end the implementation of the Supreme Court verdict. So what has been granted on restricting the entry. So they wanted to unrestrict this entry of the women. So what has happened as an unrestricted entry for the women to the Sabarimala, which is remaining inclusive. So as we know that this is with purely the post Sabarimala verdict to what has been coming from the Supreme Court. There were a few petitions which they are filing to ensure that the verdict to what has been given by the Supreme Court has to be taken out. So because it's old customs and traditions to what they have been following on, and they don't want any kind of an interruptions on all these things. So there was a kind of a board members, Travancore, there was some board and other agitators, they were talking about it, and they were also refusing to even be to budge to whatever the decisions has been coming on. So the board president Padma Kumar, he also had the meeting with the Kingdom of Kerala and also the other eminent persons, and they wanted to sort it out the issues, and they want to file a petition to make it clear that they don't want such kind of a verdict to be imposed on Kerala. So they wanted to take out, and it has to be a restricted entry for the young women to the Sabarimala. So this has to remain the same. So this is just a development to what they have been planning, and they wanted to be more specific to what they do. That's about it. And the next news item, Me Too, the founder of Quant agency Anirban Bal fired. So here it was like 4 anonymously, they were accusing the Anirban Bal. So it was actually the founder of the Quant Entertainment. So it is actually one of the biggest celebrity management agency in India. So he was actually seeking sexual favors from the aspiring actors, and this had actually showed him with an immediate effect as the Me Too movement has been alarming throughout the country. So here the agency was saying that it will be giving us complete support to the Me Too movement, and it also condemn and deprecate those who have exploited the women in any form or the manner. So here Mr. Bal, whoever we are talking about, the Anirban, he has resigned from the board of the trustees of the Deepika's Padukone, the Live, Love and Laugh Foundation. So he has also resigned from that particular post right now. And there was also a young writer who wrote it for Screenwriters Association, that the Ajit Thakur, who is the head of the content studio of the media and entertainment business of Reliance Industry, even he was doing sexual harassment during the job interview and forcing her to take up with cocaine as well. So this was one of the letter to what has been given to the Screenwriters Association. And there was also an allegation on the producer Yash Patnaik. So he is also been accused of being compelled and forcing the survivor to stay with him, and this was also a sexual harassment in return. So here the Screenwriters Association chief has said that the issue has been taken into consideration, and they will be along with the person who is being to be called as a survivor or the person who is undergone with the sexual harassment, and they try to help them as much as possible. So this is about it. The next one, no time bar for crimes under POSCO Act. So here it is with respect to explanationing the section 19 of the POSCO Act, and which is actually dealing with the criminal sexual crimes against the children. So they are laying down the procedures for reporting a crime, but does not specify any time limit or a statute of limitation for reporting it. So here there was a doubtful situation where there were a kind of a time frame to what they have to build on, but here it's been very clearly said that survivors of child abuse can file a police complaint after they become adults, and there's no such time bar which has been given on reporting such particular crimes. So this is coming with respect to the Law Ministry, which is concurred with the opinion of the Ministry of Women and Child Development and also the CRPC and POCSO 2012, because they are not laying down any of the time frame for making any reporting of the crimes which has been covered, and they are also making it very clear there was no period of limitations under the section 19 which is regarding the part. So that is what we explained out here. And the CRPA also is the one which is giving a time limit for the crimes which carry out the punishment, which would be up to for 3 years, but it is not giving for a time bar where it could attract a tail jump for more than 3 years. So again, it was not talking about the crime file which has to get reported, but it's rather talking about the jail term to what it might be in return. So there's nothing again in terms of it, they're talking only about the punishments. Any of your eminent personalities were talking about it was an important step for the survivors of child abuse and who may try to file a complaint as early as which has to be taken into consideration. So this is about a turned away of the police stations to where the police stations were not taking any of the complaints to what is being given by the survivors of the child abuse. So this is something on a good aspect. So make it very clear that there is no time limit. So any police complaint can be given once they become adult. So there is no such stop or there is no such time limit in return. The next one, a government app to rope in volunteers. So here any volunteer, if he has kind of a free time in his work time, then he can definitely have an app called the hashtag self for society. With this he can do his volunteering in work and do what best he can do it for the society. So it's for all the professionals where they can use this self for society, which has been developed by the My Government, and this would be getting unveiled launched from October 24th. So a lot of companies are actually running the volunteer initiatives. With the help of this, there was a kind of a platform which would be created right now, where they can create a better synergies among some initiatives which has to be taken, and also better outcome of the efforts of the professionals to how they can serve the society in return. And also volunteering improves the employment satisfaction, also reduces employment attrition. So as the volunteers, they try to work in their free time, so that it gives an employee satisfaction. At the same time, it also reduces the attrition. Is something very important. And at the first time, they are saying that it will be using the IT companies to be as a first go, and after that all the other companies and other sectors also would be joining to make it as a very big movement. So this is about it. And here they're also hoping that the volunteer time for government's flagship programs such as Swachh Bharat is expected to increase, as this might give a lot of chances for the other people also to be a part of the society. By the self for society, using an app with it, they can do to whatever the works they have to ensure to deliver for the society in return. So this is about it. The next one, Korean War memorials to be built in Delhi. So this is because there was a Korean War back in 1950-53. So there were 21 countries which had actually participated in the Korean War, and there almost like 16 countries have sent the combat troops here. But if you see what is India's role in that, India's role was very neutral in the Korean War. It had actually sent the medical teams and also the custodial forces to deal with the prisoners of war. So this was something where they are looking out to get a proper outcome out of it. So they attributed in a peaceful manner to end the Korean War because of not having a prolongated war with the Koreans. So this was something very important, and taking the contribution into consideration, the Korean War Memorial will be built in New Delhi. This is to commemorate the India's role in the war, which had actually ended in 1953. So the time span was between 1950 to 1953. And here India and South Korea have also agreed on building on the war memorial and the administrative process which has been going on right now. In terms of funding, who the one who would be funding for any construction of the memorial, so here the Korean government is saying that they would be happy to contribute to get the war memorial back in India, and the technical details like the design and the other aspects are yet to be worked on. They still not been focused on that particular aspects. And there was also an information where the Korean War memorials is in about 20 countries around the world which had actually played a role in war. So by setting this, India would also be part of those kind of countries which has the Korean War memorial part. So this is about it. The next one, UPI to facilitate interoperability among the prepaid payment instruments. So this with respect to the RBI's next new release of the guidelines for the interoperability, which is between the prepaid payment instruments such as wallet cards that will effectively allow the users of popular payment wallets such as Paytm, Freecharge, Mobiwic, PhonePe, PayZ app, among others, to transfer the money from one wallet to the other one. So this is like purely how the transaction happens from one wallet to another wallet. And now for this, the Reserve Bank of India, that's the RBI, has given a guidelines for the interoperability. So it's saying that this particular circular which has been issued by the banking regulator, they have to implement the interoperability through the UPI, that's a Unified Payment Interface. So this would be allowing the PPI to issue the cards which would be authorized card networks such as MasterCard, Visa and the RuPay. So this is what they would be doing in return, where the PPIs are issued in the form of the wallets. Interoperability across the PPIs shall be enabled through the UPIs. But any PPI which would be issued in the form of the cards, then the cards shall be affiliated to the authorized card networks. So, this is the way to how they have to use in terms of the wallets or in terms of the cards. So, here the PPI users shall also adhere with all the requirements of the card networks or also the UPI, which would be including the membership type and also the criteria, the merchant onboarding, adherence on various standards, rules and regulations which would be applicable for the specific payment systems such as technical requirements, certifications and the audit requirements and the governance. So, here they have to adhere to all the important types and the criteria as to what they have to fill in to proper setup with the UPI systems and also interoperability in transferring the amount from one wallet to the other wallet. So, experts are also welcoming this move because this might definitely give a boost to the e-wallet segment, and they are also ensuring for a safety and accuracy of the transfer of the money from an individual of one wallet to another one. So, this will significantly boost the e-way, that is e-wallet industry in the larger aspects, and here the customers' money would remain safe, and at the same time it might give a speed and accuracy for the interoperability to be effective and also to be efficient. So, this is advantage out here, and they are also telling that it is also a good progress to move for your non-bank players and also lay the foundation to reach the underbanked and unbanked segment with a powerful payment product. So, the year overall this would be benefiting the people in larger like non-bank players or the underbanked segment, or it will help the e-way industries and customer money remains to be very safer. At the same time the speed and accuracy can be overall checked up. So, this is what the next guidelines is being coming from the RBI as a circular issue. So, this is about it. And the next one, ancient rocks in India gives a clues to early life. So, this is with respect to the ancient rock, because here the Riverside in US have actually tracked a molecular science of animal life, which is called as in biomarkers. So, this is dating back to 660 to 635 billion years ago, which is during the Neoproterozoic era. So, this is about it. And here the researchers have now found that the oldest clue is yet to give a mystery of the animal life in the ancient rocks and also on the oils. So, this would be including from India, where it is dating back 100 million years before the famous Cambrian explosion of the animal fossils had happened. So, here the Cambrian explosion is giving about the animal fossils much before to it, how was it and how it has been formed out, is giving a oldest clue which has been coming from these particular history animals, which we call it as in sponges, because the ancient rocks and the oils from the Indian, Oman, Siberia, they found to be an steroid compound which has been produced only by the sponges. So, this is to be assumed to be the earliest forms of the animal life on the earth. So, the Cambrian explosion, this is actually referring to the sudden appearance in the fossils which record of a complex animals with a mineralized skeleton remains with 541 million years ago. So, in which ways the things are not being more cleared out here, but they are trying to tell to what is that would have been to be as an earliest animal and what are the things to what we are taking as a references to be as an earlier animal out here. So, we have been looking for a very distinctive and a stable biomarkers which are indicate the existence of sponges and other early animals, so rather than the single celled organisms. So, right now what we are looking out for is the single celled organisms which are believing that they are dominating the earth for billions of years before the dawn of the complex, that is a multicellular life. But how did it really start on is what the traces is all about. So, this biomarker they are identified the steroid, the compound named to be as 26-mes, that is methyl stigmatasane, so which is a unique structure that is currently only known to be synthesized by certain species of modern sponges called as demosponges. So, these demosponges are the one would be called as in synthesizing these with the modern sponges, so that you would be getting understanding. So, the name to what they have given is called as in bio, that is 26-mes, the biomarker they identify with a steroid compound. So, here you will get lot of development, and this is a very important part of your science and technology. So, this is about it. And the question for today is you have to consider the following statements. The first one, the core inflation measures the headline inflation excluding the volatile components, food and fuel items. Secondly, the head inflation measures the price inflation arising due to all types of commodities in the economy. So, you have to choose the quotes which is being given here, and you can put your answers into the comment sections. So, that is about it, and these were the important news items from 17th of October 2018. Thank you.